I just got done sanding some drywall in the bathroom. I don't even know what time it is. It's probably about 10 o'clock, but I got up out of bed, still in my underoos. I figured that's a good time to sand drywall in your underwear. And I went into the bathroom and I set up my little flashlight and I made sure the light was shining down the wall at a very oblique angle, shallow angle, to really highlight the nooks and crannies. And it looks pretty bad. Looks markedly worse where I fucked it up, but also all the walls have been like, they've had towel racks and whatever other dents and whatnot are in them over the years and years that the house has been here. Yeah, so I just plastered mud over them, and I used a plastic trowel. I think it's called a trowel. I don't know what you would call it. I'm not a drywaller, but the wide spatula. I got plastic ones because I was being a cheapskate, and I've had metal ones before, and I know why you use metal ones, and the reasons are that the plastic bends, and it's hard to really lay a flat layer of mud, especially if it's thicker. So I went in and sanded down all the mountains that I created. Most of them, to a point where I was hitting paper and things like that again, because once you hit paper, you're done, right? You're going to see that straight through your mud again. So we did all that, swept all the crap up into a corner, and then I mixed up some more drywall mud real thin, and I just skim coated the entire bathroom very badly. I don't have a light in there at all, so I just have a flashlight to do that, and then it's a small bathroom, so it's hard to move around in there. But we got it, I got it fairly well done. I'm on my way to Home Depot now to pick up some Sawzall blades so I can saw off the what's remaining of the exhaust on the Ford this morning. The reason I'm doing that is I got a coupler with 2 clamps because the exhaust pipe has been like chopped off for some reason right behind the collector. The rest of it's still hanging there. No one stole a cat or anything. Someone just sawed the exhaust in half. I don't know why. But where they cut it, it's bent, and I don't have any manly tools to like unbend it, and I don't have a Sawzall blade to cut the damaged part out. So I'm gonna get some Sawzall blades, cut that damaged part out, put a coupler in the exhaust pipe. The exhaust manifold gaskets on the side of the block are smoked. The little donuts that go into the Y pipe or the collector pipe, if you call it that, whatever you want to call it, those are gone. So it sounds like the Spirit of St. Louis when you fire it up. But I'm at least putting that 3-inch pipe back together. So most of the chaos is coming out of the tail end of the truck. That's happening today. You just do it a little bit at a time. It's gorgeous out here today, guys. Look at this. Well, you probably can't see very well, but there's the beginnings of the fence back there behind the RV. Yeah. So that's happening. Played with the truck most of yesterday. Got it idling properly. Nathan and I I say Nathan and I, but it was me, I guess. We were working on it together, but I was putting things on places and he was looking at Jack Link's beef jerky advertisements. Well, we swapped the spark plugs around, and we got 4 and 8 swapped by accident. We got the 4 and 8 plug wire swapped. This is the old shit that we were just sitting in the parking lot. So that's why it ran even worse when we were leaving. That's not why it was running bad, but it made it worse, obviously. So we got back here, swapped plugs, put new wires on it. We got done putting the wires on it. I said, hey, dude, let's go through this thing somehow with a professional, some information that we could find on some Ford website or something like that. I should get the manual for that truck, but I'm not gonna. I might, just for fun, because they're not that expensive, and it'd be fun to just learn more about the truck. But yes, we moved the plug wires around. We realized that there was like 3 of them that were jacked. So, well, obviously there had to be 4 of them that were jacked, but so we got that all straightened out. One of the plugs was completely fouled. The rest of them looked good, so it kind of was, indicators as to what was going on. So we got the plugs all settled out, fired it up. It idled much, much better, but when you hit the gas, it bogs. There's no throttle response. It still coughs and chokes, and, it just doesn't run good. So I cleared the engine codes, um, put everything back together, and took it for a rip off the road. 1, 2, 5, and it ran pretty good. Once it got going, it was running good. You can tell it's a strong motor. So I brought it back, no check engine light on, which tells me that the check engine light doesn't work because it should have been on. So pulled the dashboard apart a little bit. Wasn't hard because everything's broken in there. I just pulled it off. Pulled the speedometer cluster out, and sure enough, the check engine light was burnt out. I wonder why? Probably because it's been on for 20 years. So I swapped the check engine light bulb with like the I don't know what it was. It was a ABS light. So I swapped the light bulbs around. Sure enough, the light came on. Jumped the wires under the hood that you jump for OBD1 to give codes. And sure enough, it had 3 codes in it. 3 long memory codes sort of thing. I had permanent memory. I don't know what they call it. You have to learn how to read the codes because it beeps at you. It's like flash, 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 flash. It takes a while. You got to watch it a few times. At least I do because I'm a little bit retarded. So we had 3 codes: a 122, a 128, and a 332. So I talked to my little buddy Grok, who, by the way, he's a hoot. Was like, hey man, that's your manifold absolute pressure sensor. That is your EGR flow low, and that is your throttle position sensor. Voltage is not sweeping like they want it to. So the map was saying that it wasn't moving in inches of mercury. It hadn't moved beyond X in X number of time, period of time. And so what all 3 of these have in common, well, what 2 of them have in common is vacuum. And what all 3 have in common is 5-volt signal from the ECM. So rather than just throwing parts at it, I did some more farting around and asking Grok, which, by the way, if you're poking around the internet trying to find stuff, just ask Grok, because Grok will search the internet for you way faster than what you can search the internet. And if you're not asking for politically charged bullshit or whatever you want to call what's going on in society now, if you're just asking it for like engine information, it will find what you're looking for. Don't talk to it like a search engine. Talk to it like the most smartest person you've ever met, and you will be delighted with what happens. Don't ask it for psychological evaluation, though, because that's not what it's for. Don't do that. Some people are doing that now. Don't do that. Talk to your dog. Grok says to me, Grok wants me to call him Rex for some reason, so I call Grok Rex now. So Rex told me, yeah, that can happen. It can be your 5-volt signal from your ECM. Very uncommon. Check your vacuum and, blah, blah, blah. So I checked vacuum at the map sensor. It has vacuum. When I yanked the map vacuum off while it was running, the truck all of a sudden idled real high and it got lopey. So that tells me that there is a signal coming out of it that's telling the ECM to do something. I also put my thumb over the vacuum hose when I pulled it off to make sure it wasn't just acting funny from a vacuum leak. And yeah, it's acting weird. But when you hit the throttle with the map sensor unplugged, it fucking takes off like better than with it plugged in. So now it's telling me basically what's happening is when I yank the map sensor off, and I'm guessing at this, it's going to go into some sort of a well, that's not true because it's still receiving electrical signal from it. So the computer wouldn't know. I was thinking it was going to some preset fuel map, but I don't know. So anyway, map unplugged, throttle response is way better. Map plugged in, throttle response sucks. So it had vacuum. That tells me that the map sensor is probably just crap. They're like $30 at AutoZone. We're going to try to go get one of those here in a moment. Throttle position sensor. It has a 5-volt signal, a ground, and a return line back to the ECM, and that return sweeps from I think it's 0.9 volts to like 1.9 volts or something like that. Should be an even sweep. So between manifold pressure and throttle position, that's base. Engine coolant temperature was a problem too, but between map sensor, throttle position sensor, that's basically telling this computer how to run the engine, and it's telling me that the computer's telling me that it doesn't know what's going on with either of those 2 sensors. So that's a big problem. So throttle position sensor, a bit more of a monkey. It's on the bottom side of the throttle body. The throttle body is probably filthy, so it has to come off anyway. So we're going to pull the throttle body off today. We're going to swap the map sensor. Of course, it's old school Ford, so the map sensor has to be like rigged to the engine. That means I might have to drill some holes out so I can twist this sensor to where I get 0.9 volts with throttle position closed. If it's off, then of course the computer's going to think the throttle's somewhere that it isn't, and that's going to make it run funny. So I'm hoping that when I bolt it on and I do my little voltage check, let's hope before that I can find my voltmeter. If I find my voltmeter and I check the voltage, hopefully it's at 0.9 with the throttle closed, and then we can rock steady. But probably going to have to do a little drilling, a little monkeying around. By the end of the day, we should have a new throttle position sensor on there, a new map sensor, and it should be purring like a little happy kitty. Exhaust gas recirculation valve, not too concerned about that. A lot of people think EGR is bullshit, but it's not. It does a lot of things. It's not just for emissions. It's dumping in oxygen depleted charge to do all kinds of things and work against detonation and all sorts of things like that. Not just your nitrides of oxygen. So that's going to have to get fixed eventually, but it's most likely just completely carboned up and the valve's stuck, right? So we're going to pull that off today. I'll pull it off today. Poke around in there, spray some weasel piss in there and yank on it and do whatever and see if we can get that guy functioning again. And then once this thing's running to where it's drivable, I'll probably go ahead and get it insured and licensed so I can start driving it back and forth to town. Because I'm telling you, I could probably put 8 or 9 women in there at a time. Some of them are going to have to ride in the back, but that's going to be the going to town rig, you know? So that's what we're doing. Also, the RV roof leaks, and it has since we bought it, and it was bad in Seattle because it happens to rain a lot there. We thought we may have fixed it, but there's always a new leak in an RV. I'm going to put a tarp over the top of that, Alabama style. I'm not actually going to fix it. I'm just going to put a tarp over it. That'll be fixed some other time. I don't even like going in there right now because it's kind of like, I used to live in that fucking thing. It's chaos. So put a tarp over that. We're going to get the truck running. Nathan wants to rip out all those plants around the house and put in an herb garden, and that's where he wants to put the peppers and stuff like that for the garden. And I was like, hey, whatever, man. Whatever floats your boat. So he's going to do that, he's going to do that. And it'd be nice if the truck could drive around because you can throw all that crap in the truck. He still can. You can still drive it around in the truck. That's what's happening today. Just taking it easy, just chilling. We'll talk to you later.